about the sound system. It is what it is. I'll take care of it in post-production, yeah?
Hi, everybody. Good day. Please join me in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you, NYPD, and thanks to all our veterans and active service members. And I would really, really like to thank all of the wrongfully convicted that came out today to speak up for their rights. Thank you, sir.
Oh,
I'm sorry about the altercation I had with the person on the street. I respect you 100%. You're the man. Thank you, guys.
All right, folks, so we just finished hearing from the wrongfully incarcerated. Once again, it's Reverend Keith Gadsden. Nolan Farrell can't be here today. Shout out to Otis Johnson over there, all the people that I work with, Vincent Moto, Mutia Jama Sebru. Find out more on the board. Now we're going to have some candidates speak, right? We got candidates from all around the world, not just New York, not just, by the way, we're going to have a quick announcement in a second, but we're going to have, not just from New York, from Namibia, President running for Namibia, a House of Representatives member taking on Grace Meng, Vice Chair of the DNC, part of the military-industrial complex, I'm sorry to say. My man, Reverend Keith Gadsden, has a quick announcement of an event he got coming up, then we're going to get to the candidates. We're going to start with Jeremy. Wait, actually, let's start with Susan. You have Susan step on up, then we have Jeremiah right after, then we have Thomas and Mitch, okay? So Susan, get ready, go ahead and make your announcement.
I want to say this briefly. I went to a lot of rallies, press conferences up in Albany, and it had a lot of PhDs. Persons coming up there saying that, boasting about their PhD in criminal science and all that. And then I heard a lawyer, Deskovic, say that the justice system is not racist. How can you speak for me as a black man? This is what I want to know. You have not experienced my 32 years in prison with correctional officers walking around with t-shirts and tattoos of black babies with ropes around their neck. How can you speak for me?
Would you like to go live?
Okay? And across America, racism is blatant. Now, I propose in legislation that's going to end all this stuff. And I call it Reverend Gadsden's 86A6577. Guerrilla legislation, focusing on the following. You see, they put me in a cage like a monkey in a zoo. I'm not a monkey. I came out like a gorilla, but for the right purpose. I'm doing God's work now. 1, eradication of qualified immunity. 2, eradication of government internal investigations. 3, legislation law that compel accountability that enforces A, criminal arrest. B, loss of pensions that stem from arrest or compel resignations or terminations. And 4, eradication of parole commissioners, remorseful implement criteria for possible parole release consideration at parole hearings. Because they had that in effect, and I went in there and kept saying I didn't perpetrate the crime, they kept denying me parole. They need to eradicate that. And the other thing, They need to stop these officers who get caught out there and they resign or they get fired. They go into another law enforcement, from police department to the correction department, and they commit the same kind of racist acts on people of color and Latinos. Okay, and with that, I'm gaining support, and this legislation right here should go across America in every county, every city, where the officer got a gun in the badge and a judicial system that don't care about my people. This got to end. Thank you.
All right, folks. Folks, make some noise for Reverend Keith Getz. We're about to hear from a U.S. presidential candidate right now. Now, one thing that I like about the right wing is they have a saying called "too big to ring," and we're about to hear some about electoral shenanigans going on within the election system. Go ahead, Susan. Ready?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you, DJL7, for organizing this, and for all the speakers who are here today. Right off the bat, I want to say, just as a person growing up in the U.S., I was actually always pro-death penalty until I started hearing some of these stories of these wrongful incarcerated people, and I've completely changed my view. So I am no longer pro-death penalty. I am pro-life in that form. We don't need to create more killers, and we don't need to kill people. There's always a way to reform, I think. So I have totally changed my view on that. So now let me introduce myself. I am Susan Maud Bookser Lahaki. I am running for President of the United States. I am the first unregistered president candidate, and I'm unaffiliated. I did run back in 2020 with the Green Party, but my platform was not picked up by the Green Party, and they chose in the 100-year anniversary year to choose a man to be their candidate, their nominee. So I continued running on a very pro-woman, pro-family platform, and then sadly, I was running as a write-in, and I didn't win, but Biden got in. But I do believe that some of my votes that I probably did get were manipulated into Biden's win. And so, there's what I discovered when I ran for president the first time in 2020 was there's a lot of fraud in the system. Just changing over from Democrat to Green Party, it took me 3 of those postcards to change my party affiliation. And then it also took me, I had to walk actually finally in the door and say, change my voter registration back in 2020 to the Green Party. And sadly, they couldn't find my name in the system. But I had been getting voting ballots and I had been voting, but they couldn't find me. Then finally, under a misspelling, they found me, and then they could change my voter registration to Green Party. Then after that, I had been living in Switzerland for 20 years, and so I had been also voting from abroad. And one of the states, when I was running in 2020, they wanted to know, did I vote in the last couple of elections? And I knew that one of them I hadn't. And I knew that while living abroad, I missed 2 elections when I could have voted. And I asked the lady, I said, did I vote in all the elections? And she said yes. So that means somebody voted 2 times for me, certainly, if not every time. So I don't know if my vote ever got counted while I was living abroad. And these are just the beginnings of the problems I discovered going through the whole process of running for president and this whole registration of voting. And in 2022, I ran for Congress from West Virginia. I moved back from Switzerland to the United States, and I went to West Virginia because that's where we have most of our problems, and I wanted to see what was really happening in the country there. So West Virginia is having a lot of problems, and I did discover a lot of things, but I think the biggest problem is the fraud and the manipulation and the corruption in our government. And it's actually not so much the government, it's the people running the government. It's the Democrats and the Republicans. They're sadly working together, and they have been manipulating all of our votes for 100 years at least. And I know this for my own experience. as I explained, that my votes were stolen. But then our own Secretary of State from West Virginia put out a video back in 22 where he declares that a quarter of the West Virginia vote was fraudulent in the previous elections. And that would be 380,000
Babe,
names.
can you text me because I really can't hear.
Okay.
I didn't have the phone. I
Anyway,
was trying to charge it.
380,000
All right,
names
goodbye.
were wrong on the
Okay,
West
all right,
Virginia registering to vote list. So the problem is we have no checks and balance on that list, and the Democrats and Republicans